There's no time to wait. like football, business moves fast. And when you need funding, there's no time to wait. At Fleximize, we keep things simple. No penalties, no red cards, just fast, flexible business loans. We only ask for the essentials and you'll get a decision within 24 hours. Once approved, the funds are in your account the same day. Fleximize, let's fund your goals.
Hello and welcome back to Matchday Live, streaming on X, YouTube, Facebook and Town TV. Proudly brought to you by our headline digital partner, Fleximize, the UK's award-winning lender offering fast, flexible business loans. It's Friday night FA Cup action under the lights and the Blues are on the road at the racecourse ground, ready for an action-packed fourth round clash with Wrexham. It's just the second ever cup meeting between the sides, and while they'll meet again next week in the Championship, today is all about progressing into the next round. Coming up on the show, we'll take you through all the highlights from Saturday's visit to Derby, look back at Town's last FA Cup meeting, and revisit a few memories from our guests' early days at the club. And as always, we want you to get involved. Let us know where you're watching from or share your predictions for a chance to be featured on the show. Well, good evening and welcome to Matchday Live here at Portman Road. Alongside me, we have two former Blues in Freddie Sears and Adam Tanner. Gentlemen, thanks for joining us. How you been?
Yeah, all good, all good. Good day today. Obviously looking forward to this tonight and looking forward to the game too.
Bit of paddle?
Yeah, a little bit of paddle today. And then, yeah, just we've got a big game tomorrow, so resting up for that and then obviously looking forward to this evening.
Yeah, FA Cup action, Adam. It's always very special. What are your memories of the FA Cup? Did it mean as much as it does today?
Yeah, the FA Cup was always special, sort of growing up as a young lad. You know, it used to be always on in the house. And, yeah, at the third round, also really good and special. So looking forward to tonight. Be good for Ipswich to try and continue the momentum and get a win.
Of course, Freddie, you appeared in the FA Cup this season for Maldon and Tiptree. Just sort of explain what that journey was like as a non-league player reaching the first round.
Yeah, massive. Probably reaching the first round was like reaching the cup final, to be honest. We had to play 5 or 6 games to actually get there. But yeah, that was a really good journey. Obviously, we lost to Port Vale in the first round, but it was a really good experience for the club and a really good journey to be on. We
obviously faced Wrexham twice in a week, once in the FA Cup, and then we've got them again away in the Championship. What do you think we can sort of learn from tonight's game? Obviously, it's a different squad or a different first 11 that we're seeing tonight that probably will start next week.
Yeah, it will be. So it'll be 2 separate games, but Kieran will be putting just as much importance on this. You know, he's utilising his squad. We've always said they've got a really big squad, and and he's utilising that tonight. And Wrexham probably do the same. But they will want to win. You know, both managers will be desperate to win this game and take that momentum into the league game next week.
Well, before we get stuck into tonight's match, let's take a look back at Town's last away trip in the Championship to Derby County.
Scrap between Bart and O'Shea inside the 6-yard box. In it comes from Mehmeti, and it's in there and it's headed home. And it might be an own goal. Lewis Travis looks to be the disappointed Derby player inside the penalty area. No one in red wheeled away claiming the goal. And it might be the former Town man who has got the final touch, which sees Ipswich into the lead. Mehmeti delivered it in. Brereton Diaz misses his kick, so Davis can now link up with Jack Clark. Clark approaching the penalty area, slides it through to Mehmeti. Mehmeti shot. 7 appearances in the competition proper. Also appeared in the qualifying rounds for the Dutch club as Mehmeti ghosts in off the left side, and Mehmeti's playing it into Birds. What a lovely ball! There's a save from Vickers. Matt Clark. Beyond Mehmeti, Travis on this near side, the left, manages to squeeze that into Agyemang. Now Clark goes down and the penalty is awarded. Bobby Clark, fouled by Azor Matasiwa. Brewster, intake of breath, starts his run up now. and fires it down the middle. Walton diving to his right, can't keep it out. Involvement for him in an Ipswich Town shirt. Town's second signing of the winter window, and here he is, linking up with Town's first signing of the winter window, Anis Mehmeti. Mehmeti trying to make a nuisance of himself just outside the Derby penalty area, and he's found the ball to McAteer. McAteer standing it up, and it's towards Davis at the back post! And Leif Davis hits it across goal into the corner. An assist for Casey McAteer, stood it up, and Leif Davis just stood firm and powered the header back across Josh Vickers into the back of the net in front of the travelling supporters, and Ipswich Town retake the lead. Dan Neil going to use his experience to try and stand Ward up. The final whistle blows and Ipswich record their 5th away league win of the season, and yet again the Blues win at Pride Park. Their unbelievable record here continues.
A brilliant result for the Blues, playing in red away at Derby County. Adam, just how important could that goal be from Leif Davis to get those vital 3 points in what we know is going to be a very busy championship end of the season?
Yeah, very important. I think it showed a good test of character as well for the boys. Going a goal ahead, then getting pegged back with a penalty, but virtually straight away going up the other end and scoring a fantastic goal, like a good team goal. The subs were used as well, so that will give, especially McAteer, a boost. Brilliant ball in, and Leafs got an unbelievable header there. So no, vital to keep the run going in the league, and keeping us in touch with the ones at the top. So yeah, all in all, really good away performance and win.
Yeah, Adam mentioned it there, going ahead and then conceding that goal. Sometimes we've seen this season that can sort of derail a performance, but that shows great confidence and resilience from that side against Derby.
Yeah, it does. Pride Park's a tough place to go as well at the minute. They're having a really good season. Obviously done really well going ahead early and then getting pegged back so late. But it just shows the character and obviously we've said before, the strength of the squad. The subs coming on, making a real impact. And like Adam's just said there, it was a great header from Leif. And, the scenes after, it felt like a big win. It really felt like a big win.
Yeah, the squad depth is there for everyone to see. And when you've got players like Anis Mehmeti who's come in, and we saw from the clips there how influential he can be with that forward passing.
Yeah, Kieran sort of toyed with a few players this season in the 10 role, and Mehmeti's come in and he's been lively in the performances he's had so far. Offers something different, he's very sort of goes into areas, pockets, looking for the ball the whole time to try and make something happen. So he's been a real plus so far in his performances.
Casey McAteer as well, coming off the bench, making that real impact for setting up the goal as well. It's been a tough start for his Town career. He's been in and out of the squad, but he starts again tonight, and the confidence that he'll have now going into tonight's game will be there.
Yeah, definitely. It's tough sometimes coming into a new club, trying to find your feet, especially when the squad's so good here. The opportunities don't come as often as you're used to and as often as you like. So to come on last week and make a big impression, obviously setting up the goal, and then tonight's a great opportunity for him, as well as for a lot of other players who want to be knocking on Kieran's door for this big run-in. Yeah,
let's have another look at the goals from that victory away at Derby County. The first one, we were watching this and we weren't quite sure how this is sort of headed in, but we'll take it off former Blue Lewis Travis. Adam, what kind of how do you explain that? Because he's facing the right way and then it's gone backwards. We'll take it, but it's an odd one.
Yeah, very strange. I'm not even sure there's any body contact that spun him around there. So he's sort of lost his bearings and he's also sort of headed it down. It's unexplainable really, but like you say, we'll take it. It was early in the game and like I say, it puts us ahead. We'll always take that.
I was going to say, set pieces are causing a lot of problems throughout the football divisions at the minute. I think in the last night's game in the Premier League, chaos was a word that is being used that we're seeing. But Town here on the attack as well. And this is the ball that we're talking about here for splitting defensive through there. It's a great ball into Casey McAteer, and the header, Freddie, is it looks like a striker's finish in the end.
Yeah, it's good play all round. I think the ball through to McAteer, and then the quality of the cross, and then the header. It looks a great run, and then again, it's quite easy when your confidence is low to sort of lash at that. But he's put a really good delivery in, and to be fair, it's still a great header from Leif. But he's made a really good pass, really good cross there, and you know, it's a great moment for Ipswich.
How difficult is it to score a header like that? Because commentators will always say, head it back to where it's come from. But I guess the pace was on the ball already, and it's just Leaf's got to guide it into that far corner, which is difficult, I presume.
Yeah, that's a really difficult skill. You know, credit to Leaf there. He's had a lot of time to look at that. It's come in, it's sort of a bit of a floated cross, but he hasn't tried to head it too hard. He's guided it back across, but no, really, really high-level skill there. And it's gone in the top corner. I think it was Bruce that made a really valiant effort to try and clear it. But all round, it was a brilliant goal.
Yeah, it's been a brilliant performance from the Blues on the road. And Azor Matasiwa has been fantastic since he's come to the football club. I feel like we're talking about him quite a lot, but he's had such an impact on this team, Freddie, the way he just dictates the play and is sort of that anchor in midfield.
Yeah, he has. I think, obviously, with Sam Morsey leaving last year, it was a big gap to fill, and he's come in, and every time I've seen him, he's been brilliant. You know, he's sort of commanding that centre midfield area, and he's got real quality. You know, he's sort of building the attacks, and he's been great. He's been really good for Ipswich, and he's going to be a very important player for the rest of the season. Yeah,
you feel like he controls the tempo of the game as well from the middle of that park, and we speak about whether it's Jack Taylor alongside him or Jens Kuyusde. He has that demanding presence that you don't want to come up against if you're on the opposition team.
No, 100%. I mean, as Freddie alluded to, you know, we lost Sam Morsey, so a massive boots to fill. But, you know, Freddie will tell you, every team needs someone like Azor in that midfield, sort of a bit of an unsung hero, probably doesn't do anything too spectacular. But what he does do, he reads the game brilliantly. The amount of interceptions he makes, and he does things nice and simple, keeps everything nice and simple. And I think the real testament to him has been this season. I know he's not playing tonight, but any league game, he plays. You know, it's him plus one another.
Yeah, you feel like he's one of the first on the team sheet, one of Kieran McKenna's, you know, namesake. That's always one of the first ones down that spine as well. Obviously, you've got Darwin at the minute, you've got Christian Walton in goal. But you need someone in your dressing room to help you get through those tough moments in games. But I bet off the pitch he's a really nice guy, but on it he's a powerhouse.
Yeah, and I think you can see from after the game, the celebrations. I think he led the famous Chamber fist pump, didn't he? And the boys were pushing him over, you know. So that's the relationship. The boys obviously respect him. He's a really good player, and he's a fan's favourite as well. You know, the fans seem to really go with it, and it was a really good moment for him. 5 points off Coventry.
I know we haven't got a league game until next week, but just how close do you think this season is going to go towards the end of the Championship? Middlesbrough now seem to be going on a good little run, but it looks like Coventry are the ones that we could get, especially after that game in hand when we eventually get to play Portsmouth away.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I think, you know, look, it's going to be a tough. This is going to go to the wire, but don't worry about that. Middlesbrough and Coventry will be worrying about us. You know what I mean? We've got a real strong squad, battle-hardened squad now. So I think it's going to go to the wire. But I think we'll definitely get into that top two.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be an exciting end to the season. Right, tonight's game in the FA Cup is our second of the campaign. That follows a victory against League One side Blackpool earlier on at Portman Road.
As Ipswich Town enter the 145th edition of the world's oldest cup competition today, as the 1978 FA Cup winners host Blackpool. Lee Evans over the ball, the whistle blows, and the FA Cup third round is underway. A right arm will deliver from the near side, and it comes towards Kipré, who rises, and it's saved by Peacock Farrell. Finds Ashley Young. Now where's Burns, crossing position right side. Burns dinking it in towards Akpom, allowing Hamilton to run onto this ball, and Hamilton might be away from Ashley Young, and I imagine Ashley Young is going to be shown a yellow card here because he's up against Ashley Young, who's on the booking. Morgan just trying to help it back into Hamilton. Hamilton cuts it back, and it's a chance for Danny Imre, and Greaves with the block. Clark spins away from Fletcher, approaches the penalty area, central position. Johnson onto Philogene. Philogene back of the net, 1-0. Jayden Philogene with a typical Jayden Philogene finish underneath it, and he's given it straight to Jack Clark, and Ipswich are going to burst forward here with numbers. 4 against 4 currently. Clark through to Akpom. Akpom inside the penalty area, saved by Peacock Farrell. 200th game in charge of Ipswich Town, but Hamilton might cause problems here. Young has to be alert. He's on a yellow card. Hamilton with the effort on goal from inside the box. Lee Evans in midfield. Can't find Fletcher. Here's Taylor, 30 yards out. Taylor! Doesn't pick anyone out with the cross. Fletcher has won the flick on here. Hamilton is into the penalty area up against Young once more. Hamilton trying to deliver it back, drops for Fletcher and it's blocked. Currently at Blackpool, in comes the corner from this near side, taken by Young, and it's Jacob Greaves with the header that will send Ipswich surely into the 4th round. Banks away from Matasiwa into the penalty area. Greaves with the challenge. He's just got a toe on the ball, has he? No, he hasn't. Comes up to the ball now, and it's into the back of the net.
I guess the pen would have took a minute, so.
Ipswich celebrate Kieran McKenna's 200th game in charge by moving into the 4th round of the FA Cup.
Ipswich Town are now just 4 wins away from a day out at Wembley. A bit premature, I know, but I guess that's what fans dream about in the FA Cup. And when you're playing teams like Blackpool, you'll be expected to go through. And that was a job well done by the side that Kieran McKenna picked after so many changes.
Yeah, definitely. You know, getting into the next round, that's the main thing. You know, performance-wise, yes, it'd be great to have a really good performance. It was like quite a dominant performance against Blackpool, but getting into the next round was the only thing that mattered, and we've done that, and it'll be the same tonight.
I guess that's what makes the FA Cup so special and unique, because you get games like that, Ipswich versus Blackpool, Malden and Tiptree travelling to Port Vale. As players, when you are the ones that are expected to win, does that add even more pressure?
Yeah, it does. Obviously, there's always a lot of change in the FA Cup as well, so it makes it difficult. You know, them games you're probably expected to win, like Blackpool's at home, they come and it's a big day for them. And, you know, a lot of the squad come in and they're not used to playing with each other, so it is difficult. But, you know, Ipswich have got enough quality in the squad, and that's a real difference, like that last round and especially tonight. Is it hard to keep that momentum then in a competition like the FA Cup when you're making so many changes? I think it was 7 for the Blackpool game, and there's quite a few tonight. I mean, like we said, we've got the depth to be able to do that. But is it difficult as players to sort of continue that momentum when you're in and out of the team? I think it's a trait that Kieran does. He uses his squad throughout. He does make quite a few changes on a regular basis. You know, all these players, apart from Bagger, you know, are experienced Championship players. Do you know what I mean? So and they need games, they need minutes in the legs, because they're going to be used in the run-in now to the end of the season. But yeah, I think, like I say, the squad are used to being used on a non-regular basis, apart from maybe 2 or 3. And Adam mentions it there, players like Elkan Bagger, who's starting tonight for Ipswich, which is great. And on the bench, we've got Somto Boniface, a young lad that will relish the opportunity just to be on the bench for nights like this. You've come through youth systems, you've been that player. What will be going through his head? Yeah, I think they'll just be desperate to get on the pitch. You know, obviously Elkan's starting tonight. I've played with Elkan when he was coming through at Ipswich, and he's a really good talent. And same with Boniface, he'll be desperate to get on. You know, I think as much as the Ipswich fans will love seeing the big names, they'll also love seeing boys from the academy come through and get a chance in the team. And these are what nights of tonight are for. Yeah, it's going to be a tough night as well, because Wrexham going well in the Championship. They've got their own story as well, coming from non-league. It's going to be a tough night, but it should set up for a really interesting game on a Friday night. Yeah, it will be. It'll be a tough game. You know, like I say, like you said, they'll want to continue their momentum as well. You know, they're going well in the league, probably overachieving. But we know the story behind Wrexham, so them having a cup run will boost that story as well. Well, the last game in the FA Cup for the Blues was against Blackpool, and one of our guests scored against the Tangerines many moons ago. Freddie, do you remember this one? We had to dig deep for this one. It starts with a behind-the-goal action replay. Just questions I would like to ask you is, your movement's great, but did you expect the pass from the opposition player there? Yeah, no, I didn't, to be honest. I was just more shocked to Chambo running down the right wing. But yeah, it feels like a long time ago now. You know, that game, I think it was 2014-15 season. I think it was a really important win in the end. Obviously, getting to the playoffs that season. But yeah, still, it's great seeing them goals back. Do you know what I mean? Really good. What was your first memory of when you walked out at Portman Road for the first time? Did you have those nerves? Not really nerves. It was sort of like wow, really. Like, obviously, I was at Colchester, and you come to Portman Road, and the stadium's unbelievable. The fans, it was like the place was rocking at the time. It was like 25, 26,000, and you know the history of the club's so big. I think I can't remember the first home game, but it was a special moment.
And as a forward player, you're always judged on your goals. So when you did get that first one, how did that feel? Did it feel like a weight was lifted off your shoulders?
Yeah, probably a little bit of relief, to be honest. You come into a new club. I come from Colchester in the January window, and I was doing really well for Colchester. So obviously to come in firing obviously helps. And I think I scored in my second game against Brighton, and then just took off from there. I think I ended up with like 9 goals in 19, 20 games, and obviously struck up a real good partnership with Daryl Murphy, David McGoldrick, and yeah, just gutted that we just couldn't get over the line that season.
Adam, we don't want to leave you out. We were talking before the show came on air, and you went, when I mentioned about Freddie playing against Blackpool, you were like, oh, I played against Wrexham, and you haven't got that clip where I wiped the defender out, have you? Well, we have got it, but we've sandwiched it in between the first 3 games because you did score on your Ipswich Town debut, then we played Wrexham, and then you scored again. So we're going to run this clip now.
Brilliant.
I was sitting there with a little smile. Just talk us through this, because this is your first goal for Ipswich Town.
Yeah, this was Jules Burley's second game, I think. It was a basement battle like against Leicester. We were all both down there. Yeah, I sort of come across, just hit it. You know what I mean? I was playing right midfield. But yeah, this
one. Talk us through this one, because I think you get the ball, to be honest.
I think if VAR was around that, I think that would have been disallowed.
But your reaction doesn't help you there with your head in your hands.
I think he dived, to be fair. He definitely dived.
But you were thrown in at the deep end for your debut, weren't you, with George Burley? There's a article going around where you were sort of explaining the story, how you sort of just chucked in and you weren't necessarily expecting it.
Yeah, I travelled to a game. I think it was Everton away, and then we played on New Year's. It wasn't New Year's. It was to January the 2nd, and he told me the day before. Said, "Oh, you're going to be playing against Leicester," and then and that went well before 2. I scored. This was the next game. But to be fair to George, after this, he didn't have a go at me for that. He blamed the senior lads, which was handy. Although Sedge blamed me.
When you have conceded a penalty like that, what was going through your mind in those initial moments? Because then you go and produce something like that at Anfield the following week.
Yeah, I mean, going back to that Wrexham game, it's a crazy challenge. You look back at it now, it's absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, I was gutted, and then obviously this was a week later, so going from one extreme to the other. But yeah, well, like as Freddie says, you look back and it's great memories, good and bad, but you know, I wouldn't change it for the world. Yeah,
that's quite an interesting start to your Ipswich Town career, isn't it? Not many like that, I imagine. No, didn't really. Not too much happened after that. But no, like I said, and Freddie will tell you, there's nothing, you can't replicate those sort of memories, the camaraderie in the dressing room, everything like that. It's just brilliant times, and look back with it with great fondness. Yeah, speaking of special memories, lifelong Town fan Dawn got a very, very lovely surprise one afternoon when she was greeted at the door by Ipswich Town legend Matt Holland, and she got a matchday experience like no other. She was driven to the game in the Halo McLaren. Check this out.
Hello, Dawn.
Hello.
Hello, it's Matt Holland here. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Good. Nice to see you. You all right?
I'm good, thank you.
We've come to surprise you.
Okay.
Do you know why?
No idea.
No idea. An act of generosity and kindness. Azor at the Blackburn game threw his shirt into the crowd, didn't he?
He did.
And what did you do with the shirt?
I handed it to that little boy.
You handed it to a little boy.
I did.
Our media team spotted that and wanted to surprise you and give you a special day today.
Oh,
and along with Halo,
yeah,
we're going to give you a nice day. You're going to ride to the game in the Halo McLaren. There you go.
Oh, there.
Welcome to Portman Road.
Thank you very much. I haven't been here before.
Well, you've been here a few times. I wish I could still play.
And Jimmy too.
Well, see? Oh, thanks.
Oh, sorry,
That's
mate.
all right.
It worked well. She was totally surprised, and she's the most caring person. It's never, she never comes first. So this is going to be an amazing day for her.
How are
That's
you?
a nice surprise.
Is
I
it?
saw you coming in, shaking hands.
well,
Have you
nice to
had a
meet
good
you.
game? Yes.
There's a
That's
present
the one
for
I
you.
give away, isn't
Yeah,
it? I
yeah,
give
so,
away to that for you.
yeah,
Thank
so-
you very much.
You're welcome. I hope you're happy with it.
Yes, I am. Thank you. I've got my own one.
Don't give this one away.
Okay.
Yeah? Okay.
Thank
Are you
you.
okay with that?
Yes, thank you.
What a fantastic act of kindness from Dawn. And big thank you to Halo for making that experience ever so much sweeter with the Halo McLaren. I'd like a little spin in that car, but I don't think my insurance would cover it. Back into FA Cup action this evening, Wrexham. They do quite well at home. Their journey is incredible, but it's a game that Town will go into full of confidence off the back of that victory against Derby.
Yeah, they will do. Yeah, you know what I mean. And as I say, they've had a good week's training. I'd imagine got a lot of minutes into legs on the training field as well. Bit of rest as well. But yeah, Kieran will be firing this starting 11 up. You know, I think looking at the subs bench, you'll probably hope that he won't have to rely on a majority of those, but if he does, he will, I'm sure, bring them on. He'll want to win this game, you know, make no mistakes about that. You know, it's not our first choice 11, we all know that, but Kieran, personal pride for him and also the starting 11, they'll want to win this game.
Yeah, it's a big night for some of those players that are starting tonight. We've mentioned the young lads coming on, but there's got lads that are getting the minutes in. It's vital because we'll need them for tonight and also for the rest of the championship season.
Yeah, definitely. It's another opportunity, isn't it? You know, we've said it over and over again of how good the squad is, and nights like tonight is time to prove that. And like we said, if someone performs really well tonight, you've almost got a chance of playing next Saturday at Wrexham again. So really good opportunity for the squad. It's a good opportunity to get some rest into a few of the boys. We've been playing a lot, but yeah, really excited to seeing a few of the boys as well. What
have you made of the Wrexham journey? Obviously, they've got the Hollywood money that everyone talks about. It was massive in the National League, and they've climbed the divisions, and you know they're sitting inside the playoffs, I think, or just outside the playoffs. It's been quite an incredible journey for the football club.
Yeah, amazing. You know, it's like it is a fairy tale, really. You know, no club would turn down this sort of money and this sort of exposure. You know, having two Hollywood superstars really coming into a fairly small club has been stratospheric, really, for them, the rise, and potentially to have 4 promotions on the spin is unheard of. You know, 2 is amazing, like we've had, but for them to go from where they were potentially into the playoffs and into the Premier League, that'll be unbelievable.
Yeah, and Kieran mentioned in his presser that it's a stadium that some of the players may not have played at. As ex-pros, do you ever get that feeling when you arrive at a new ground? What's sort of your thoughts as you step out onto the pitch of a new stadium?
Yeah, I'm sure they'll obviously. You go to the stadium, you have a look round and stuff, but I'm sure it'll be fierce tonight. You know, the Wrexham fans will definitely be up for it. I'm sure Wrexham will as well. It's a Friday night. It's probably a perfect FA Cup game for them. You know, and they're going well, we're going well, so it should be a really good game.
We know we've got lots of changes in the team, but if we do get through into the last 16 of the tournament, or round 5, like, the fans will not start believing that we're going to necessarily go to Wembley, but it does sort of galvanise the group, doesn't it, even more so. You can see how important a cup run could be.
Yeah, it can do, and that'll dovetail with the league, you know what I mean? So you can string, say, 3 or 4 wins together in the league with a win in the cup. Confidence grows, you know, all the squads being used, and anyone coming off the bench in the league games will be all fresh and ready to go. So yeah, it's vitally important, and like you say, it will galvanise the town. I mean, we don't need to. The crowd have been brilliant here this season over the last 2 years, but a good cup run helps any club.
You're never going to hear a manager diminish the FA Cup in a way. And Kieran said it, both teams are going to have a crack at it. And that's what we want in the FA Cup, because that's the fans paying their hard-earned money to go up to Wrexham. They'll be back there again, no doubt. And there's no doubt that this Ipswich Town team can go there, perform and get the result into the next round.
Yeah, you know, obviously the league is the main focus, but this FA Cup, the magic of the FA Cup's still there. You know, you see it every year. Macclesfield this year. Hopefully Ipswich can get through tonight and get a Premier League team here, and then you'll see the atmosphere again. And that's obviously the aim for both teams. But the magic FA Cup's still there, and who knows? You've seen it before. Teams like Wigan have got to the semi-finals. They've won the cup. So, you know, it's a real good opportunity for Ipswich tonight, and I'm sure Wrexham are probably thinking the same thing as well.
And it's one the fans always remember, don't they? The FA Cup run. We had that terrible afternoon when Maidstone were here, but there's not going to be one Maidstone fan that hasn't remembered that day. And they're the kind of nights and afternoons that fans will want to remember going through the years of supporting the football club.
Yeah, they're different memories. You know, sort of the atmosphere in the FA Cup, Freddie will tell you, can be different. You know, it's a bit more of a carnival atmosphere sometimes of the later rounds you go through. But yeah, you know, it's really a big game for both clubs, and that's why I think both managers are treating it as seriously as they are. You know, but as Freddie said also, that the main focus for both clubs is getting into the Premier League. However, this will not be taken lightly by either manager.
Yeah, the Premier League is definitely the end goal, but the main focus tonight is on Wrexham in the fourth round of the FA Cup. We can now have a look at the Ipswich Town starting 11. We did say there has been quite a few changes, as expected. Alex Palmer starts in goal for Ipswich. Ben Johnson, Cedric Kipre, Jacob Greaves, and a start for Elkan Bagger form the back line. And Dan Neil makes his full debut for the Blues this evening, and he partners Jens Kajustad in midfield, with Casey McAteer, Sindra Waller-Egley and Chuba Akpon supporting George Hurst, who captains the side tonight. First of all, what do you make of that, Freddie? A striker captain in Ipswich Town this evening. I guess he is one of the players out there with the most experience. Yeah,
I think it probably comes down to a little bit of experience. I'm guessing he's trusted by Kieran, and yeah, he's probably one of the players who plays a lot of the time anyway. So, you know, he must be a good influence in the squad, and big night for him. I remember I was captain for one game at Ipswich in the FA Cup. You don't normally see it as a striker. You normally see the defenders, the centre midfielders, the bit more vocal players. But again, a good opportunity for him. I'm sure he's buzzing for it, and he'll be looking forward to it.
Yeah, he's probably looking for a goal as well. It hasn't sort of fell to him just yet. We've had a few opportunities, and I've been saying it about Ivan Athon as well. He just needs one to go off his backside. But sometimes when your luck's not in, but having the armband tonight might be that extra bit of confidence he needs to put one in the back of the net tonight, Adam.
Yeah, you know, a big night for George. You know, it'd be a proud night for him as well. Captain a club like Ipswich is no mean feat, you know what I mean? So, you know, Kieran trusts him. You know, Kieran's brought him in. He's signed a new long-term deal at the end of last season, so Kieran trusts him. He does need a goal. You can see sometimes he's a bit devoid of confidence, but Freddie's a striker, so he'll be well aware of the pressure that the strikers are under to score. So if he gets one tonight, that'll be brilliant. But he does do a lot of work, probably unnoticed, and probably a little bit more appreciated by his teammates than maybe a certain small section of fans.
Yeah, absolutely. He definitely works hard for the team. Alex Palmer in goal. He's been waiting patiently on the sidelines as Christian Walton hasn't really put a glove wrong so far. A big night for him as well, because he'll want to, you know, show the case that he still regards himself as Ipswich Town's number one, even though he's not starting these games at the minute.
Yeah, again, good opportunity. Obviously, Christian Walton's come in and been brilliant. So Palmer will probably be a little bit disappointed, but you've ultimately got to sort of wait your time and try and earn your shirt back. And, you know, nights like tonight are a good opportunity again to stake a claim for the number one. But, you know, we've got 3 top goalies, and I'm sure there's more behind the scenes as well. So anyone who's called on will be ready to play, and hopefully it'll be a positive for Ipswich.
Yeah, Kieran Slicker's having a great season at Barnet in League 2. Big night for Dan Neil as well, who's making his full debut for the football club. He hasn't played a lot of football at Sunderland. He found himself on the bench a lot, not getting in games due to their promotion to the Premier League, which can happen. But again, he's come in, adding to the depth that we've already got at this football club. So I'm really excited to see what he can produce tonight.
Yeah, I mean, he's come in his pedigree, captain Sunderland last season to promotion. So that shows the sort of level of player that Kieran's able to attract, you know, as a football club and also Kieran as a manager. You know, I'm sure there was other offers for him. So, but yeah, big night for him. You know, he looked a seasoned operator, and he only showed a few glimpses when he come on the other day. But it'd be interesting how the team is without Azor in that anchor role. I think Dan Neil will probably sit in there and do that. But yeah, it'll be interesting tonight, and a big game for him. He'll want to show the Ipswich fans what he's all about, and also he's not come here to sit on the bench. You know, he wants to play a big part in a promotion push like he did last season. So it would be a really interesting game for him.
Yeah, Dan Neil starts tonight. He doesn't want to be on the bench. He's not, but let's show you who is on the bench this evening. Azor Matasiwa is on there, so if we do need the powerhouse in midfield, he's ready to come on. And David Button is on the bench as well, so it's a night off for Christian Walton. The depth that we've got in the football club, Freddie, we talk about it every week, but any of those players that can come on can really have a real impact in today's game.
Yeah, I think obviously Jack Clark's the one that stands out. You know, he's had a fantastic season. I think we said a little bit earlier, he's probably a little bit unlucky of our world Jaden Philogene's been as well. But yeah, the bench is really strong as expected, and I'm sure, although they've got the night off, I'm sure if they're needed, Kieran will get them on and hopefully they can help the team out.
You mentioned about the experience of Dan Neil, George Hurst. How important is that to have in the squad for tonight's game when you've got players like Somto Boniface and Elkan Baggott, one starting and one on the bench?
Yeah, massive. I mean, I'm sure that these two lads have been in and around the squad for a while, probably be integrated in training, probably regularly amongst the group, but vitally important, you know, especially for Elkan Baggott. He's got experience. I imagine he's going to play left centre-back alongside Kipre. So we'll have Greaves one side of him, Kipre the other, you know, giving him that, talking him through, giving him the confidence. And then obviously the young lad on the bench, if he comes on, it'll be a dream for him. And but he'll be watching, and the lads on the bench, I'm sure, like O'Shea and Furlong, people like that, will be keeping him on his toes, making sure he's watching the game and ready to go on.
I'm sure you guys have been in that position, perhaps when there's an FA Cup game, there's a lot of squad rotation. You might be starting normally in the league, but you're on the bench in the FA Cup. You mentioned that it might be feel like a night off. Do players have that mentality at all? And I don't mean they just completely switch off, but are players, I get this feeling that they'll all be hungry to get on the pitch and they want to get on the pitch.
Yeah, they will. You know, obviously we say a night off as a bit of a joke, you know, but everyone has travelled to Wrexham, so they'll want to play, they'll want to contribute, and, you know, ultimately they want to get through to the next round of the FA Cup. There's a few Kieran might want to give more of a rest to, but I'm sure everyone on that bench will be ready to come on and give 100% for Ipswich. Yeah, no doubt. They'll be raring to go if called upon. Right, that is your Ipswich Town starting 11. To talk us through today's host, Wrexham, we'll send you over to our lead commentator, Glenn Wheeler.
Yeah, thanks, Curly. Well, as Wrexham look to reach the 5th round of the FA Cup for the first time since 1997, Phil Parkinson makes 5 changes to the lineup that started last weekend's 2-0 defeat here against Millwall. Arthur Okonkwo was kept busy by Ipswich during the league meeting in November as he faced 8 shots on target, and the Arsenal Academy graduate will be hoping to keep another clean sheet as he starts in goal tonight. In front of him, it'll be the 3 centre-backs of Max Cleworth, Dominic Hyam and Callum Doyle. The latter spent last season on loan at Ipswich Town's great rivals Norwich City. The Wrexham midfield includes Colchester-born Lewis O'Brien and George Dobson, who scored a painful 99th minute equaliser in a pulsating 4-4 draw against Ipswich during his time at Charlton. And Sam Smith is selected to start up front. The former Reading striker has scored 4 goals in his last 7 appearances in all competitions and has been nominated as Championship Player of the Month for January. On the bench, there are 2 familiar faces in the form of Kiefer Moore and Nathan Broadhead, who is fit enough to be involved tonight after a slight groin issue.
Thank you, as always, Glenn. Now, before you talk us through tonight's game, I'm going to throw you under the bus ever so slightly, because you haven't been prepped on this question, but that's how we do things. What has been your favourite FA Cup moment for Ipswich Town?
Oh, that's a good one, Curly. I could have done with a prep for that. Let me just have a look at my notes and see. Yeah, I mean, the Coventry 4-1 away win last season was very impressive, wasn't it? But I think just in terms of Ipswich's improvement in the competition, and actually there is one, and it's just come to me. I remember commentating the away game at Bracknell from about 6 rows up, in line with the 18-yard box. That was a tough one for me, but a good 3-0 win for Town.
I knew you wouldn't let us down, Glenn. We look forward to your commentary very soon. Right, now let's hear from the Ipswich Town manager, Kieran McKenna, ahead of tonight's clash.
Super stuff. Kieran, on the game, first of all, how different might this one be from the league meeting in November when Wrexham seemed pleased to come to Portman Road, shut up shop and play for a point? You imagining a different encounter this time around at their place?
Yeah, I think that's probably fair to say. They're at home, they're in good form, and it's an FA Cup time. Both teams want to go through, so I expect both teams to have a real good crack at it, and hopefully that's going to make for a real good cup tie.
How's preparation gone for you and your players ahead of this one, off the back of last week's good result at Derby?
Yeah, it's been good. Obviously, the result last week and the performance really helped with the atmosphere around the group, and it's always a nice change when you get to the FA Cup week, to be honest, especially when you're in a season like us where you're sort of really thinking about your goal in the league. The FA Cup provides a nice change of focus. So the boys are looking forward to that, looking forward to a game in a different competition. First time playing in Wrexham Stadium. This is not going to have to wait too long for the second time, but this is the first time for probably almost all of our players. So it's one to look forward to. Everyone's excited for it.
Yeah, the thoughts of Kieran McKenna there ahead of tonight's game against Wrexham in the FA Cup. Glenn mentioned it there. Nathan Broadhead, Kiefer Moore, both on the bench, both played a huge part in our promotion to the Premier League. Is it nice to go back and see old faces like that, even though they are on the opposition, Adam?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure the lads that were here when they were there, they'd be glad to see them. They'd probably keep in touch. You know, they were two big parts in our recent really good history. So we'll pay them the respect that they deserve. But obviously, we won't want them to do too well when we get on the pitch. They're both good operators, high quality operators. You know, Nathan Broadhead can unlock a defence. So if he comes on, we'll have to have our wits about us, and Kiefer provides that physical threat.
We play Wrexham again in the league. We've spoken about what we expect tonight in the FA Cup. The squads have changed a little bit, but is there anything we can potentially learn from tonight's game going into next week's one? Or are they two separate entities because of the competition?
Yeah, I'm not sure, to be honest. I think you'll obviously see Wrexham's shape. I think Ipswich shape will be very similar. So a lot of stuff will be similar. Obviously, I'm guessing on Saturday there'll be a few more changes again. But yeah, obviously winning tonight could give a big upper hand as well going into next week. A lot of confidence. Obviously, they've been there this week. Go and do it again next week, which would be great. And ultimately then can focus on getting that promotion to the Premier League.
Looking at that Ipswich Town lineup for tonight, who do you see as the biggest threat for us moving forward? Because we're blessed in so many areas. Who could it be a big night for, do you think?
Well, I think any of the front four, really. You know, sort of. Obviously, George will play through the middle. He needs. We've already spoken about his confidence looks a bit low, but also Tuba. He needs a goal, and then the two wingers. Not sure who's going to play on the left. But Casey McAteer and Egley, they could both do with a goal and a good performance.
Going back to George wearing the armband this evening, you mentioned that you wore it once. How can a striker inflict his thoughts, the way the game's going? You know, like when Dara's captain, you know, it's from the back, they can see the whole pitch. How difficult is it for a striker to sort of rally the troops up in moments in the games when it does get a little bit tough?
Yeah, probably a little bit different, to be honest. I'm guessing George will be leading through his performance, you know. Dara's a very great leader, talks a lot, sees all the game. Whereas, you know, tonight's a big night for George. He's the captain of the club. His responsibility is on him a little bit. But yeah, I'm hoping it's a real positive performance as well. Tuba, I'm really looking forward to seeing Tuba again. I'm still waiting for him to take off a little bit. You know, he's had a bit of an up and down spell so far. You know, I think all the strikers just need that goal, like you said, off the backside. And, you know, we need someone who's going to score goals between now and the end of the season.
I think that's what's frightening in a way, because we speak about players that not necessarily haven't hit the form yet, but like could do with a goal, and we're still third in the Championship, very much in control. We're in the FA Cup fourth round. If it does really kick into gear like we saw in that season in the Championship, this team is going to be unstoppable.
Yeah, I think it's a marker of how far we've come and how quick we've come, the expectations and the levels. You know, but like Freddie's saying about Akpom, he's come in on the back of a big reputation, and he hasn't obviously hit the heights that we would have expected, but he's shown glimpses of his quality, and he's got a good pedigree, and this might be the night that something happens for him, and then he can put that form into the league.
Right, before we head off to the commentary team, I'm going to need a prediction from you both. Freddie, as a goal scorer, I'm going to come to you first.
Yeah, I think it's going to be tight. I'm going to go 2-1 Town. I'd like to see George and Tuba. That would be probably a perfect night for Ipswich, yeah, so I'm going to go 2-1.
Adam?
Yeah, I'm going 3-1 Ipswich, and no penalties given away.
OK, well, FA Cup rules mean that there is only commentary available for tonight's game. But don't worry, we've got you covered. Town TV subscribers, you can listen to Glenn Wheeler and Ian Westlake. It's going to be a big night of FA Cup action. Thank you to you for watching at home, to our guests, Freddie and Adam, and of course, Fleximize. Come on, you Town. We'll see you next week.
Just like football, business moves fast. And when you need funding, there's no time to wait. At Fleximize, we keep things simple. No penalties, no red cards, just fast, flexible business loans. We only ask for the essentials and you'll get a decision within 24 hours. Once approved, the funds are in your account the same day. Fleximize, let's fund your goals.
The Tractor Girls are back in town. Ipswich have got us underway here at Portman Road.
When we started this, did we ever think we'd have a partnership with a football club? Absolutely not. This is beyond our wildest dreams. We pretty much exclusively hire graduates at Halo. We're very proud of our Suffolk roots. Halo's a pretty passionate, positive, enthusiastic place generally, but when you've also got what's going on at the football club, and it's just blending passion and enthusiasm.